What's up, folks? Welcome to Math Walkthroughs with Mr. Weeb. Today we're looking at divisibility by 2, 4, and 8. This is our lesson 1 action task. Let's see what they're asking us to do. It says a party planner must decide whether to use tables of 4 or tables of 8 for some parties. She wants each table to be full with no leftover guests. For which number of guests will tables of 8 work? And for which numbers of guests will tables of 4 work? And we have to explain our thinking. So for each of these numbers, we're going to go through and see, are they divisible by 4 and are they divisible by 8? Let's start with 228. Now I'm hoping you remember that when we're looking at 228, we can ignore the 200 because 100 is just equal to 50 groups of 4 or 4 groups of 50. In either case, we know that we can ignore 100 because it's already in groups of 4. So let's continue by just looking at the last 2 digits here, the 28. When we're figuring out if it's divisible by 4, we divide by 2 and see if we have an even number at the end of it. 28 divided by 2 is 14, and we look at just this last digit, and if it's even, which it is, then we can put a check mark beside this one, right? Because this number here, 14, is even. For the next number, 155, again, we only have to look at these last 2 digits, and we can see, hopefully right away, that we can't divide it by 2 without a remainder. We will get 27 with a remainder of 1. Therefore, it will not be divisible by 4. Let's look at the next number. It's 352. Okay, so we take 352. We just look at these last 2 digits, and we see if we can divide that by 2. I know that since 2 is an even number, that we can divide this by 2. 52 divided by 2 is going to be 26. And if this last number here is an even number, then it is divisible by 4. So we can put a check mark by this one. All right, let's keep going. 104. So we've got 104. We just look at these last 2 digits. Then we see, is 4 divisible by 2? Yes, 4 divided by 2 is 2. And this is an even number. So it's divisible by 4. And finally, we have 446. 446. We look at the last 2 digits. We see if that's divisible by 2. 46, I know that 6 is an even number, so I can divide it by 2. It's going to be 23. However, this is an odd number. This is an odd number, so it's not divisible by 4. So going down the list, we have 228 divisible by 4. This is divisible by 4, divisible by 4, divisible by 4. Sorry, no. This one's not divisible by 4, and 155 is not divisible by 4. Let's look at the same numbers and see if they are divisible by 8. Now, since all multiples of 8 are just doubles of a multiple of 4, all I need to do is divide this by 2 and see if I get a multiple of 4. If I do get a multiple of 4, then I know that the first number is divisible by 8. So let's see, what do we get when we divide 228 by 2? We get 114. And how do we tell if it's divisible by 4? We look at these last 2 digits here and see if those are divisible by 2. So we divide that by 2 and we get 7. This is an odd number, so it won't be divisible by 8. Let's look at the next one. The next number is 155. So we've got 155, and we can divide that by 2. Oh, no, we can't divide it by 2. So we already know this won't work. Then we have number 352. 352. If we can divide it and find a multiple of 4, then we're good to go. Let's see. 300 divided by 2 is 150. 50 divided by 2 is 25. So 150 plus 25 is 175 plus 1 extra. We get 176. Now I want to see if this is divisible by 4, so I look at the last 2 digits there, and I see if I can divide that by 2. 76 divided by 2, well, 70 divided by 2 is 35. 6 divided by 2 is 3, so add those together and I get 38. Okay, so now I've got 38. 8 is an even number, so that means this number here is even. So that means this one will work. Then the number that we have is 104. 104 divided by 2 to see if we get a multiple of 4. So 100 divided by 2 is 50. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so we get 52. Then we're looking at these 2 digits and seeing if we can divide those by 2. 52 divided by 2 is going to be 26. If we find an even number, then it works out. It is an even number, so this one is going to work for being divisible by 8. And finally, we have 446. 446. Divide this one by 2, and we get 223. I can tell already this is an odd number. I can't divide it by 2 again and find an even number, so this one will not work. So for these, this one's going to work here. 352 will work, 104 will work, but 228 will not work for being divisible by 2. This one won't work, and 446 won't work. Let's move on to the next question. It says, what do you notice about what the numbers that work have in common? And I might say something like this. I noticed that all of the numbers that worked were even numbers, but not all the even numbers worked since 446 did not. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.